When you're in a group and you start looking at group dynamics, it's very interesting to watch who tries to take charge, to watch who sits back, reluctant to take on the group, to watch who seems to be able to maneuver effectively, changing roles depending on the situation. It's interesting to watch who tries to get power, who tries to avoid power, how people deal with this whole issue of power. And if you look at a group in terms of social power, you have to consider things like amount of money earned or acquired, gender, where you live and what kind of home you have, if you have a home at all. Then there's skin color, national origin, sexual orientation and preference, level of education, physical and mental ability, and so on and on and on. These are the factors determining how much power our society gives to particular individuals. Some are granted a lot of power. Others are always in a one-down position, or maybe a 2 or 3 or 4 down position. This kind of power isn't about character or ability. This kind of power is simply about external things, the fleeting kind of power that can come and go depending on the circumstances. People that have this kind of power seldom recognize the privileged status they have just because the way things are. But people who lack this kind of power clearly understand their lack of privilege. They really understand what privilege is in this country, who has it and who doesn't, because it's there in their faces day after day after day. Mary, mother-to-be, Jesus' mother, is a person without privilege, one without power, a social outsider. By no stretch of the imagination is Mary a likely candidate to be chosen by God for the awesome task that she is about to be given, the job of helping to turn the world upside down, raising up the lowly, the most oppressed, while bringing down society's mighty. Mary is in the ranks of the powerless, the oppressed, and it is Mary who is chosen by God to bring into the world a new kind of power, the power of love, the power of justice, a power that is found deep in your soul, not in the external circumstances, but deep in your soul, put there by a holy God, an abiding power of love and justice, able to turn the whole world around. As Luke tells the story, an amazed Mary responds to God's call with joyful acceptance and thanksgiving. My soul proclaims your greatness, O God. You have brought me up from a lowly status to a place of prominence. You have done great things for me. You are lifting up those who need your help. You are confronting the proud, the mighty, the rich. You are bringing justice, keeping your promises. You are drawing me in to be an agent of change, changing things to what is right. Jesus is about to come into the world, a world where things need to change. And Mary, with almost no power in this world, is the key figure, the willing ally as God starts turning things upside down, changing unjust structures and practices, realigning the world to God's ways and agenda, bringing the outsiders inside, turning things inside out, rocking the boat in some really big ways. You see, it's not really the kings, not the proud, not the rich, not the ones with worldly power who right the wrongs of the world. It's the Marys, the ones bent down, the ones who know the weight of injustice, the ones who can open their lives to a new kind of power, the holy power of God, the power of love, the power of justice. It's a new kind of power God is bringing into the world, not a power over people, but a transforming power standing on the side of justice, ready to right the wrongs until justice rolls down as far as the eye can see. Now clearly, at least clearly to many folks, a lot of things in our society need to change in some very major ways. Usually, though, the people in power see little need for change, at least nothing major. Everything seems pretty good. Why change anything? But the people like Mary, people suffering injustices day in and day out, people oppressed with way too little power to make things better, know every day of their lives things are not right. Things are not fair. Things are not equal. Things are not just. Something really does need to change. And just like back 2,000 years ago, when Jesus comes into the world to turn things around, God is noticing our world today, and God sees that things are not right. Something needs to change in some really big ways. And God may be looking for a few change agents like Mary. Want some power? Are you game for being a change agent? Last week, I said it's a little too early to know, but some are wondering as they see the crowds of demonstrators marching for societal change related to police brutality and profiling, change related to deep-seated racism in our country. Some are wondering if we are about to enter the next significant chapter of the civil rights movement in this country. This week, today in fact, in worship services across this country, a lot of people are wearing black. Several right here at 4th Street are too, standing in solidarity with peaceful demonstrators calling for change, calling for justice, supporting a movement, joining with others in becoming a powerful force for change, declaring clearly and loudly, Black Lives Matter. Will this be a lasting force? I don't know. Will this become the next chapter in the civil rights movement in this country? I'm not sure. Whether or not what is happening across the country brings lasting change or is just another passing trend may depend on us and whether or not we're ready to take on the power of becoming change agents for good. Is God raising up a new force, a new power for change in our country? A lot of people with privilege see no need for change, but a lot of others, blacks, Latinos, Latinas, Asians, Native Americans, and yes, whites, are tired of the things the way they are and are joining together to become a power for good. Who's got the power? Who's going to end up setting the agenda? We may have to wait and see. Or maybe, instead of waiting, we could let God fill us with the power of love and with the power of justice so we can turn the world upside down. That is, if we are willing to, because some of us might find ourselves in a different place if things really get turned upside down. And you know what? 4th Street could be a powerful force for this kind of positive change. But if 4th Street is going to weigh into this battle, and it will be a battle, in any way that makes a real significance, there are going to have to be some changes here too. Power may have to be redefined as the power of love that always considers others and seeks the best for all. Power may have to be distributed differently. Some who want power may have to let go. Some who avoid power may have to step up and take on some power. Power may have to be understood as the holy power given by God for the common good to build up the whole community, not as a right to hold power over others or an opportunity to push a personal agenda. There may have to be some real reflection and discernment on who has the power and why they have it and how they use it, and who doesn't take power and why they don't. In the Christmas story, especially in the Gospel of Luke, God is on the move, changing things, turning things upside down, giving power to those without power, empowering those who seem the least, empowering them to bring God's reign of justice to all the world, while those basking in worldly power are brought low. My hope for you is that holy Pentecostal power will enter your hearts, that your minds, your lives will be filled with the holy power of God, which is the power of love. My hope is that you will not seek power to promote yourself or your personal agenda, but that you will open your hearts to receive God's power of love, shifting your focus toward justice, justice for everyone, especially those among us with the least power. Shifting your focus so that you make justice the hallmark of life shared together in this congregation. I wish for you the holy power of love and compassion that sensitizes your hearts to the injustices around you and empowers you with a passion for justice. Because without justice, real justice, there will be no true peace on earth, peace in this church, or peace in our hearts. Power, power. Who's got the power? That would be God. If God raises you to power, filling you with that holy power that only God can give, you are called to use every bit of power you have to be creators of justice, because without real justice, there will be no peace on earth. Not at Christmas, not any time. Thanks be to God for trusting us with even small bits of holy power so that we can become creators of justice. Amen.